Thrive and Shine, the podcast where prosperity meets personal growth. I'm Krista. I support mamas with ADHD to help them work with their brains rather than against it.
And I'm Jessica. I'm your growth-minded guide who helps you align with the most inspired and intentional version of yourself in both life and business.
In each episode, we'll dive into mindset shifts, strategies, and business insights that fuel success, while also keeping alignment and well-being at the center. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a leader, or someone on a journey of self-discovery, this is your space to grow, thrive, and create a life by design. So today we are stoked. I'm going to use the word stoked because I say excited too much to welcome our next guest, Amy Hawley. Amy is a creative who builds things to help people connect more deeply with themselves. Amy, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. We're so excited to have you. And I will say excited.
Okay, I'll allow
it.
I am so happy to be here. I'm also excited and stoked.
Good. We love to hear that.
Yes.
So as a segue into our conversation, tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of who you are, a little bit of background, and what's brought you here today.
Sure. Where do I begin? I wear many hats throughout my life, and currently I think right now I have more tabs open on my laptop than ever before.
Relatable.
From being a mom to a wife. At my core, I'm a creative. So that has looked very differently throughout the years. I have spent time many years in the beauty industry as a hairdresser. I have been an educator. Going back to even beauty, fashion, making my own clothes in high school, Krista.
That's awesome. I don't know that I remember that.
I know. I would,
Wow.
You have a great jacket on right now. I would be bedazzling denim jackets, all of the things. But I think the common thread was I just love to help people discover a little bit more about themselves and connect more with who they are. It looked a lot like through external beauty, but now it's shifting more to inner, self-concept and making people feel empowered to be them.
Yeah. So I have been hearing the word, I'm a creative. Tell me more. I know you talked about in different ways, but what does that mean to you? In what way?
Oh my goodness.
Being a creative.
That's a good question. Because it can be something tangible, like an artist. When I was doing hair and doing beauty, that was sort of my creative modality, if you will. But I really think being a creative is just being in tune with what sings to your soul. So what lights you up inside and going with that, because there's so many things that could fuel creativity beyond just, being an artist.
Yeah. Yeah. I always used to think that being a creative, I'm not good at drawing. I'm not good at that. But to your point, it's more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good point. To me, what comes up is imagination, being able to tap into that and then actually outwardly expressing that in whatever modality that is.
Yeah.
So it could be artist, it could be singing, podcast, whatever. But it sounds like you have a lot of interesting creative works that are in play right now. We'd love to hear a little bit more about those and just give us a 20-second rundown of some of the projects that you have going on.
Sure. Yeah. And I love that. I think, yes, being a creative is just more than, what meets the eye with art. Same with a creator, especially in the age of digital. We're all trying to be creators out there. For me, I shifted from, kind of externally creating a lot of art through, hair or through art projects into how can I use, like you said, imagination to tap into who am I really, and to listen to, what is driving me in this world. And that has led me into kind of looking back at all these different experiences that I've had throughout the years and saying, okay, how can I take this and be more real and intentional with what I'm doing? And that led me to have a lot of self-reflection. And I think that in itself is a creative modality.
For sure.
And through that self-discovery and kind of like looking back and having a little bit more awareness, it's empowered me to live a little bit more presently in the moment and notice, beauty and creativity everywhere in everyday life. So it's also inspired me to create some different projects within that creative reality, and most recently developing a place to be able to kind of capture life as it unfolds and be present in those little in-between moments.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And we'll probably expand on that a little bit in this episode, but we really want to know what has inspired you on this journey to become able to be in this space where you're able to serve others, like in the way that feels authentic to you and natural to you.
I think I couldn't be where I am right now had I not had a moment of self-trust. So it was having awareness that if I want to create a life that I love fully, I no longer can just go through the motions and have everything just happen to me. I spent many years, although externally successful, internally there was no connect to that. If anything, internally it was, stress, pressure. And when I had the self-realization and awareness, oh, wow, that anxiety might be a signal that maybe I'm not on the right path, or maybe I should listen to my body here. So it's really been getting myself in alignment. And through that, I've had clarity on creative projects, on, where my soul actually feels most purpose. And it was through that self-awareness. So that was a huge shift for me.
That's beautiful.
Has it changed, like, relationship-wise with any of your close, like, personal relationships?
Oh my goodness, yes. Really, truly, the awareness came from, definitely motherhood changed me quite a bit. I know a lot of people will say, being a mom changed me, and it does. From a cellular level down to, for me, it was mindset. I felt it was the one moment where I really can't control every little thing in my external world. And I had to sort of take a step back and let things go. And it was within that, huge pivotal moment in my life that I realized my mindset is really dictating a lot of what I'm experiencing in my outer world.
Yeah.
And that went hand in hand with, okay, if my mindset is affecting this, and this, like, it's affecting everything. And once I realized that, I couldn't forget it. I couldn't unsee it. So I think most of what I do now, whether it's, in my role as an education strategist, or whether it's in building my business, or if it's just interacting with my family, it's just heart-led now. It's inner first, and then that's what's expressed in all of my relationships. So I like to think they've all improved. We'd have to ask my husband, but
I love that.
I'm just thinking about Amy and I have actually known each other for a very long time. We grew up in the same neighborhood. And
which is wild.
It is.
We've known each other for
don't say the number, because then
we won't age ourselves.
Yeah, but. No. But it's interesting because she is also my hairstylist, as you see my wonderful hair. So grateful for her. I digress. It's interesting because we have known each other for a very long time, but there was recently a moment where she was doing my hair and she started talking about I don't know if I can say that word, intentionality and alignment and all these words. And I noticed that she kind of pulled back a little bit, and I was like, oh no, give me more of that. Like, that is, I feel you. I'm there. I understand what you're talking about. And so it was that moment, which is great, that we almost reconnected on just a different level. But at the same time, a lot of people aren't there. So it makes sense that, there was hesitation. So what does it mean to live in alignment or intentionally? What does that mean to you?
I love that question. And it really goes, for me, it's self-trust. And I know I had mentioned that earlier, but for so long, I would get these feelings, and everyone says, like, follow your gut, right? And I never really knew what that meant. I'd always be like, well, I know what I want. But the following the gut for me is, okay, maybe I'm, pushing through something or I'm forcing something, and that's causing anxiety, right? So before I'd be like, oh, well, I'm just anxious because I have so much going on right now, and that's pretty common. People say that all the time, like, oh, I got so many, plates spinning. But truly, when I look back and reflect, a lot of times when I felt that, it was because I was forcing things that weren't really in alignment with who I am. And now I put all my trust in myself and my body. So, even, and it doesn't mean I'm just, not doing anything anymore, but even when I am doing things, I'm asking myself, is this the right moment right now? Do I have to do this right now? Am I putting the pressure on myself? So I think fully trusting myself and my body first has helped me so much with everything I do, because now, like I said at the beginning, I have more things going on than ever, but I feel more calm and at ease now than, pre-kids, pre-X, Y, and Z. So it's really that self-trust for sure.
And I'm hearing also, kind of pushing away all those external things, the societal pressure, the pressure from other people, and just trusting yourself, trusting your gut.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Awesome. Your distractions and things like that too. That's what I'm hearing. Like, more of what you're doing now is going to help you in one way or another, or like your family. So it's more just in alignment, for lack of better words, with your goals in the end, and less distractions. I think when people get on that page, then they start to see a lot more success, because they're actually like, oh, I'm focusing on what feels right for me and what I truly want, not just what society thinks that I want, or what I think society thinks that I want.
Right.
And then I think more success happens from that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we talked about being in alignment. Has there been a time for you that you've been out of alignment, that you no longer felt aligned with something? Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, yes. I mean, there's times in my life where, I was just out of alignment. Looking back, I can see that now. But even now, I think it's important to talk about, growth is not linear. And although I have this awareness, right, and I'm grateful for that, it doesn't mean that I'm always perfectly in alignment and I always have this great clarity and everything is, perfect. And I mean, there's times I was out of alignment yesterday and it was just, looking back, I needed to get rest. I needed to get some water. I maybe needed to take a pause. And sometimes in life, you can't do that, right? Sometimes it's like, okay, well, I have these obligations, or I have these promises I made to myself or other people, and I have to show up. But for me, it's when I look at that, okay, of the things on my plate for that day, if I'm feeling that way, what is my body telling me I need? Is it rest? Is it water? Is it to just be? And what could I take off my plate for that day that maybe isn't necessary or priority? Because a lot of times the extra is just things that I've put pressure on myself. Like there's no one there saying I have to do this today. Right. That was a rule I gave myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, it ebbs and flows.
It's a beauty of life, though. It's like you can play by your own rules, but like they're rules that you have to follow too. And you just set strict boundaries for yourself. But I think there is a time where there's leniency that's allowed, and more of the allowing that you have in your life recently has brought you to these things. So it's awesome to see it like implemented in real time.
Yeah.
That you actually recognize it, but then actually did something about it.
Yeah.
And then was allowed to come back full circle. Like, okay, I took my break and now I'm ready to go again. But it doesn't necessarily mean like it's got to be forced or fast or powerful.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. I'm going to let Jessica ask the next question because
it's a big question for us.
Yeah.
Well, we talk a lot about our internal blueprints and self-identity and things like that. So describing your old blueprint, what did that look like for you? And, it's easier to see now because you've identified outside of that. But I also ping the question of, what does your blueprint look like in the future too? Because
I love that.
you might know what it is now and what it was, but what does it look like in the future? And so yeah, I'll let you take that away of, those three kind of areas of your own design per se.
Yeah. Well, my old blueprint 100% was rooted in the fear of falling behind, and also tied to, in order to be successful, I have to have, pressure behind that. Like there was a required, push. And I see that because, externally I've been successful. I think I would be described as, overachiever, or, always trying something new, or always kind of pushing myself. And, I'm proud of that, Amy. I can call her Hustle Amy. But now it's not that I'm not achieving things, or I don't have goals, or, I'm not striving to grow by any means. But there's a difference between hustling and over-efforting and letting go to create the space for that clarity. That old blueprint, I think, was also rooted in a lot of insecurity and feeling like, oh my goodness, I have to force this along, or I have to force people to understand me, or, I have to force, whatever the situation was to be successful. And now I know I'm not in alignment with force and pressure, right? That's what we talked about at the beginning of this. And what will come of that force and pressure is not really truly like my highest potential. So now it's knowing, if I'm calm, clear, I take a step back, in that mindset is where the opportunities come. Maybe, if I have a problem, maybe it's the answer to that problem comes because I'm clear. I'm not putting
space for it.
Yeah, I'm not putting pressure to, you have to know now. And I think really my new blueprint is letting go of having to know the outcome, and really truly trusting the process, like this mug.
Good plug for the mug.
Yeah.
So in comparison to your pressure life that you had once led, and the forceful life, how did that once serve you as, just a key indicator of your success and performance? Like what made that feel like it worked for you?
It gave me, I always had drive and ambition, right? And I think I would kind of get really excited about something and hyper-focus, that could be a little ADHD, on, hey, I see the full potential of this, right? And I want to see this through the end. And then it was almost like forgetting that although I see the full potential of this, that still means I'm human, I can rest. Like, we don't have to do everything today, and I think I have gratitude for, I guess you would call that a work ethic or hardworking. Like, those are still, words that I could use to describe myself, but they mean something completely different now. So I have gratitude for what that gave me, but I even sometimes have a little grief looking back, because had I known what I know now, you always say that, like hindsight.
Right.
But yeah, lately I even had a little grief over, oh my goodness, like that version of me just pushed and pushed and pushed until, I'm exhausted and burn out. I know burnout has been something that comes up a lot lately. And now I feel at peace. And it's so nice to know that I'm on the right path and I'm enjoying this in between. And I think that's kind of part of life. It's the journey.
I love the appreciation of the old you, or the hustle Amy. And I love that you can see and feel all those different things that come with it, because, she's still in there a little bit, right? But you have a new awareness. I don't know what a better word is for that. Yeah. But, for you to get where you are today, she had to be there.
Right. It's you have to be grateful for it.
Yeah.
And although there is an element of grief, I think the appreciation for it is like you're right. You wouldn't have got there without going through that and experiencing that. And it takes that more times than not to experience the other side. Like, duality, the purpose of that is because we don't have, if we don't get to experience light, then, we don't have the appreciation for darkness and like
I love
that kind of thing. But also the goal is the path. And that, when I heard that quote, I was like, yeah, the goal is the path. Like, it's not a destination. You're not getting anywhere with it. It's the experience of, this is my life, and like, I just want to experience anything, like anything that I can. And at the end of it, well, there's something else after that I'll get to experience. But here, while I'm earthside, like, it doesn't matter, how many dollars I make, or, if I have this type of wedding or have this many kids and prove that I'm X, Y, or Z. Like, it's just the experience. And I think the more that you fall in love with that, the easier it is to fall in love with everything else and have everything else go into place.
Yes.
Love that. We're just going to put a pin in that area, that section. But it's true. It's true. And it's interesting because you talked about like sometimes also like going backwards in those patterns. But I don't know if I've said this here, but I feel like it's like a slingshot, right? We feel like, oh, we're falling back into old patterns. We don't feel good about this. And does this mean everything's like over? But it's like a slingshot, and it just like pushes you forward. We need those things to happen sometimes.
Yes.
So.
And sometimes it's just the awareness of the pattern, because before I had no awareness. I just thought life was happening to me.
Yeah.
And then once I saw the pattern, I can't unsee it now. And then sometimes that's a whole other thing. Yeah. And other people too. That's a whole other thing too. Because, you think, oh, I have this awareness now. And, there was a small portion of time as I got that awareness where things would still come up for me. And I'm like, why is this experience still coming up for me? I don't prefer this. I am no longer this person that experiences these things, but why is it coming up again? And a lot of times it's just to have the awareness like, oh, well, did I react the same way I used to? And if I did, that's okay too, because I'm aware of it now.
Right.
And when you're aware, then you can choose differently.
Yeah.
And I think like just innately there's a piece of you that always kind of feels like you're missing that old version of you. Like there is a grieving process. There is a death to that ego and that version of you. And even no matter how much you process it, like it's like a loved one, you're still going to miss that version of you. And I think the realization of recognizing that that's okay to do and not put shame on yourself to say that I miss that person. And even though I'm not that person anymore, like I still have feelings for that person. Yeah. And that is the 100% acceptance that I hope that you strive to get to and you will experience one day. Just having that like guilt-free feeling and either expressing it outwardly or just keeping it to yourself. But sometimes it does help to talk about it. Like, oh, I miss that person because, she had those things that were so good to her at that time. But it's like, that's okay. And now it's like, well, I love this version of me because this version has these things at this time and it's right for me and it's in alignment. And accepting both is great.
Yeah, for sure. I would like to ask the next question.
All right.
How has this inner work that you've been doing impacted your relationships with success, work, or even money?
Oof. Well, I think everything has changed now that I see things differently. And I think there's a quote that before I even had this awareness, I think it's, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And that is very true. So even how I see, wealth, money, abundance is very differently. Because before it would be like, oh, okay, how do I make more, money tangibly, whether that's, hustling or this or that, but now it's, well, money or abundance or wealth can come in many different forms. It doesn't just have to be, more numbers in your bank account, although that is always welcomed. But it could be, you know, meeting the right person, having the right connection. You know, maybe it's just, you know, something, you know, is more of a value versus, you know, that tangible way. So I see wealth, abundance, success very differently now. It is not just black and white. It is, it's even in my own mood and, you know, waking up and feeling in alignment myself, like that is a gift, you know, and it's not always like that. Sometimes you got to do some things to get myself there, but being able to have, you know, conversations and connections on topics like this is a gift, and being able to connect with people. So absolutely everything has changed in that mindset for me once I had the awareness.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, we can transition now into KINZ because I do want to talk about KINZ.
Yes.
It's amazing.
I know we haven't said it yet.
Yes, sorry. Which I'm going to let you explain it because I will not do it justice.
Yes. Well, it's a good build because with all the different hats I've worn and, you know, from being in the beauty industry and as you mentioned, a hairdresser, having a passion about always wanting to make people feel like they could express themselves fully and making people feel whole. And a lot of times that was physically, right? Through outward appearance, external. And for me going through, you know, all of this change and growth and becoming aware and noticing patterns and choosing differently for myself. As I mentioned, it wasn't a linear. I mean, I'm still becoming, I think once I become, I'm going to still be becoming that next level, right? Yes. And throughout this whole experience, I found, hey, I would like somewhere to put this. And, you know, having conversations about it have been great. You know, kind of using even myself as a mirror has been great. But where can I document some of those little epiphanies, reflections, moments that make up that in between? And whether that's, you know, hey, I noticed a pattern today and I chose differently, or I reacted differently. You know, there's that. Or maybe it's, well, I fell back into old programming and I do feel guilt and shame, or I am mourning that past version of me. Yeah. So whether it's a high or a low, having a safe space to be able to put that so that I could watch myself unfold as I am becoming and remind myself that journey is so important. And I think those little, you know, nuggets of your path is what make up, you know, the bigger picture. So I created a digital safe space called KINZ, and I'm so excited to share this publicly and live and with all of you. It came to me during this period of, you know, awakening or awareness, and it has helped me immensely because I think a lot of times when you're going through a change, whether it's a healing process or, you know, growth, it can feel lonely. It can feel isolating. And a lot of times it's that internal work. So we might not be with others that are going through exact same thing. And by being able to have a place where I could put those moments and then reflect back and watch them unfold over time has been, you know, pivotal in my own, you know, journey.
Yeah. It's like a journal, but digital, and you can add photos and things like that. I would love for you to expand on more of the concept behind it, so people can get a visual, and then we'll obviously tag your pages at the end. But if you could just expand a little bit on that, I think it would be great. Yeah.
So I'd like to think of it as a place where humans can capture their evolution. It can be used like a journal, so you can write in it if there's, especially like little, you know, context of, you know, key moments that were really pivotal that you want to remember for yourself. I use it a lot visually, so you can add photos and videos, and whether it's, you know, just those in between, like peaceful moments I've captured myself, or whether there's, a quote or something that really resonates with me, I'll take a picture of that or I'll upload that in there. And how it's different is you're creating what I call living projects, because we all have many different chapters in our lives.
A lot of tabs open.
There's a lot of tabs open. And sometimes, let's say my journey of becoming a founder might look very different than my journey of motherhood. And through these living projects, you capture moments, and they are, strung across like a timeline, if you will. So you're able to see it unfold from the beginning. And it's a way that you can look back and see that continuity or continuality. I guess I'd say that. Continuity. I was going to say.
None of us know, really.
Yes, yeah. Continuity. But you can see your life unfold in more of a continuous way versus just, a post here or a story there.
Right. It's that, like, more complete.
Yes.
Too. Like, everyone knows that what you get on Instagram is just like highlight reels. It's not like the downs too. Yeah. Or connected one way or the other. So I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
Will you tell us the difference between KINZ versus the social media?
Yeah.
I mean, I know you kind of have, but like a little deeper into more of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
For KINZ, it is important to me that it starts as a private space first. So I like to think of social media now as, people are posting for everyone else.
Yeah.
It's very performative. It's set up very attention extraction, and not to knock it at all. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, all the things. But for a personal journey of awakening and evolution, growth, some of those moments in between felt very raw to share publicly.
Yeah. And
then also sharing them, sporadically like that, and not being able to see the, evolution was challenging. So I wanted to have a space where even someone that never showed up on social media, or maybe someone that never even felt comfortable journaling, had somewhere where, I can make this me.
Yeah.
The whole app is based on the user. So you open it up and it's your own dashboard, and it's going to look vastly different from mine. And I think that's the beauty of it. I love to see how that unfolds even, and how people use it creatively, because it has helped me so much in my own becoming. But, my hope is, I would love to see this, with artists or people that, it could even be just generically used as, oh, okay, I have, a goal or a project in mind, and I want to just put in some inspo in there and see, that timeline there. So at its core, it's for the creator, for the user, and it's a private space for you. So it's not for everyone else. I think it's important that it starts private first, so that way people feel safe to be able to have somewhere to put things like that. And there is some public features. So if you wish to create, or make your living projects public, if you want to share them, we have little reflection cards. You can do so, but it's in the user's control.
That's great.
I love it.
Yeah. And great that you have the potential to then connect, right?
Yeah.
As a creative, it's, and you get to decide as the user.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about like literally all the tabs open like in my brain that I could just dump on there and utilize to not have them in there anymore, but just like make sure they're kind of safe in that way where it's like, here's a really good idea, but maybe I don't have the time to pursue it right now. But here it is for later. And it's like I'm not anxious about not doing it because it's somewhere that I know where I can look back and be like, okay, now's a good time to do it.
Yeah.
So.
And I will say, I mean, nowadays, how many of us are on our phones constantly? And a lot of that does look like social media and scrolling and, and so I think having that space is just, it's a beautiful thing, especially right now, just in the world. to have on our phones, you know?
It's also bringing you back to yourself.
Yeah.
Where
Yes.
it's not like bringing you to another outlet where you're just distracting yourself.
Yeah, right.
Like you can't, in that way, you can't really distract yourself from yourself because you're working
Right.
on yourself.
Right.
And you know, your goals and things like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I did have early access to it, so I'm excited about that.
yes.
And what I notice is that it helps me express gratitude in so many different ways. I'm just so grateful for my life, and then I can see it in pictures. I can see it in simple moments, and having kind of the control to dictate how that looks is awesome. So
Yes.
it's awesome.
I love that. It's been helpful for motherhood too. You know, maybe it wasn't the intent that it would be used, you know, in that way, but you know, with my daughter, she's 2, and you know, I'm taking all the pictures and videos and they're full on my camera roll.
Yeah.
But to go back and view them all, sometimes they get lost. And then to have the context of the meaning behind it, that too. So it's been a really therapeutic for me to, oh my goodness, when I feel like, you know, time is going by so quickly, I know that I'm capturing these moments and I'm able to go back and reflect. So it's almost like that special space there versus just I'm dumping things in my notes app and I'm dumping things in my camera roll. It's like, okay, everything goes in KINZ now because it's for me and it's about me.
Right. And like you can't like put captions on your photos in your album.
Yeah.
And like, okay, you might be able to timestamp it and geostamp it, but it's like, what was the experience? How did you feel that day?
Yeah.
Who were you with? You know,
Yeah.
if they're not in the pictures and things like that. I
Yeah.
think it's so awesome. My question for you is, where do you see KINZ in like 5 years from now?
Oh, I love that question. Well, it's interesting you asked that. With KINZ, it's almost like I saw the end before the beginning. And what I mean by that is I saw KINZ becoming the next gen of what social will be. And from a perspective of a creative social frequency even, because I think we hear frequency a lot now, resonance. You know, these are going to be words that make up who we are in humanity moving forward as we collectively are connecting more and realizing that, you know, in a day and age of AI, which is great, but where's our human first connection to? And I think being able to have a space that starts with creators just reflecting on themselves and what truly matters to them first. I can see it evolving to, hey, you know, Krista has a living project on, you know, wellness, and it resonates with me and I resonate with it. And maybe I start following some of her living projects and I can see not just the highlight at the end, but I can see the evolution. Because I think it's going to be so, so important that, you know, we're seeing all of those like little in-between moments that make this journey of humanity so beautiful versus just like the shiny end result. So I can absolutely see it, you know, evolving. It was important for me not to have a huge social pressure component on it at the beginning. Users now currently create a handle and they can search other users if they have their handle, and then they can only see what that user has determined to be public or visible. I think it could evolve into, you know, having more like resonant features and having more ways for users to connect. But in its early stage, it is for you and you alone.
Awesome.
Is there like a certain age group that you would recommend to use the KINZ app?
That's a good question too. I think anyone at this point could use it. If I were to, you know, limit that, you know, maybe it's, you know, teenage and up as far as like being able to get something
Use
out
a
of
phone.
it. Yeah, as long as you have a phone.
Right.
But at this point, yeah, there's no barriers there. Everything is safe. You know, we don't sell data. There's no ads. It is all, you know, as safe and, you know, user friendly as possible. So yeah, I think it could be for anyone.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I know you talked about this before, and you kind of brought it up, Jessica, about like, the little moments and the evolution. And I think that's so important, because I think back and I think, oh man, I was in such a good place, 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I wish I had more context. I wish I remembered what and how I was feeling at a certain time, just to kind of go back and see, to feel it. I think that has a lot to do with it.
Yes.
So, yeah, I don't know. I'm so excited about this for you and for other people.
Likewise. Yeah. No, I think it'll be revolutionary in that sense. Like, it is a way to connect to yourself, and it is safe. And I think more people need more of that.
Yes.
Like, there's so much danger and like unknown with all the other apps, because they are like, you don't know who's out there essentially, but like, it's starting inward and out. And I really do appreciate that, as someone who appreciates that in other people too. Like, like you mentioned before, you can kind of, see who has done the work and who hasn't, or they're trying to do the work.
Yeah.
And I think if we can get more people on that trying to do the work, then the world is going to be a better place, because it's a reflection of yourself, how people move outwardly. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a good first step for people who might not know where to go and don't want like talk therapy or something like that too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true.
And it's very simple, right? And not not in a bad way simple, but in a user-friendly way, but also just not making things complicated like the world really is. Like social media can be, make sure you add music, make sure your caption is just right. And I don't know, are we doing hashtags anymore? I don't know. I digress. But it's personal and it's simple, but it's so powerful in that simplicity.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Mm-hmm. I know it was important to me that it had a very calm energy to it. Yeah. Because, now you open up an app and you're right on a news feed and you're scrolling and there's just so much going on. Yeah. And we already live in a very chaotic time in humanity right now, right? And I think it can be uncomfortable too to maybe have a place that's just about you. I think that could be something that comes up for people too. It depends on where you're at, and I think at minimum, just knowing that there is somewhere you can capture things, even if at baseline it just becomes a place where, I saw something beautiful today in nature, and I'm just going to put it there. Yep. Or I want to put these moments, that I have with my family in here that maybe I don't want to share with the whole world. And it's just going to be like a little sanctuary, sanctuary for your soul.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Look at her. She's finding a new hashtag here. Wait, do we do that? I don't know.
Hey,
I think we still do, but
we do what we say, right?
We do what we want.
Yeah, we do what we want.
But yeah, I think that's all super important, and I just appreciate the idea, and I love that you're coming from the vision first. Like that's a huge part of what I do as well, and you've just followed your gut like from the beginning, and then everything kind of just naturally unfolds afterwards. So it's awesome to see it like live. And like someone else is doing it too.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, I'm happy for you.
It feels like less isolating. I've seen a lot of more content creators talk about like the liminal space and these in moments in between. And hey, is anyone like, you're not quite where you want to be, but you're also not who you used to be. And that is the exact place I was in when I built KINZ. So I think for me, why I'm so passionate about it and bringing it into the world is just, it continues to help me so much. And if it can help, someone else the way it did me, then I'm so happy.
You've done your job.
Yeah.
I love that. So we talked a little bit about beliefs in the beginning. What is one belief after this process of kind of awakening for you that you no longer have and carry with yourself?
I think definitely for me, it's having my worth tied to like productivity or, you know, I'm only valuable if I'm filling every single second of my day with something. Mm-hmm. And now it's realizing that, yeah, I might have parts of my day filled with productive things. And those productive things are so much more in alignment, and maybe they are done with so much more ease. Like it feels way less heavy, mm-hmm. and they're done sometimes even better than when I would force and fill, you know, every second. Mm-hmm. And I think also listening to my intuition, as we talked about a lot today. And if I need rest, sometimes that's the answer. Mm-hmm. If I need boundaries, sometimes that's the answer. So it's just no longer earning worth through exhaustion.
Yeah. So mom to mom, how has this journey affected how you show up as a mom, and how, you know, what are you imparting to your kids now? Loaded question.
I know. I do love that question, though. You know, because a lot of this awareness was stemmed from becoming a mom, I had found myself still trying to control so many things mm-hmm. that maybe were not in my control. And by control, like forcing things like physically, like doing more or putting pressure. And just even watching my daughter unfold in her own way from, you know, she was born early, and we had, you know, there was a lot of different challenges that came up with that, and learning to let go and just trust. My God, I always knew everything was going to be okay. Mm. And I was afraid to trust that. Mm. So at the beginning, a lot of time I was looking like, okay, well, what does this mean? Or what else could happen? Or what does it mean here? And I was almost looking for, you know, the worst case, or the worst case scenario, or, you know, what's going to happen. And now, even through that whole time, looking back, like I knew I was going to be all right. Mm-hmm. Like everything's going to be fine. So just trusting that. And that has been huge with me. And anytime I do feel like that creeps back in, or I'm putting pressure on either of my kids, I take a step back and I'm like, you know what? What environment? Why? Is this something that I want? Is it for them? And how can I create a space where they both feel safe to just fully express themselves mm-hmm. and fully supported? And in doing that, then I'm getting the outcome I want. Mm-hmm. So by letting go and just realizing, hey, not everything's a problem mm-hmm. unless I assign meaning to it.
Right.
And showing them that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot less problems than we make it out to be.
Yeah.
I'm curious, though, too, is connecting your discovery of your worth and tying that towards how productive you are. Have you done any inner child work to see kind of where that came from and like recognize that pattern? And are you translating that towards your kids? And if so, what way?
I love that too. Yes, definitely. I think a lot of that work was looking back to, okay, where did I feel like I needed to, you know, fill all of my time or be productive, or where did the pressure start? And I think it really started not knowing throughout my childhood that I was in control. that instead of just looking everywhere else externally mm-hmm. for all, you know, if all of these things happen to me and looking externally, I realized I'm in control. And that might not have been something that I could have realized at that time.
Right, because you're being parented.
Yeah.
You don't think you have any control.
Yeah. And I think, you know, I had a wonderful childhood, of course. Like, I could never say, you know, anything poorly about that. I'm so grateful for my parents. But they had, you know, their own stuff that, you know, had mm-hmm. a story that kind of got brought in, right? Mm-hmm. Or, you know, that belief of, hey, you have to prepare for every worst case scenario. And although planning, I think, is important, what's that mindset? Mm-hmm. I always have kind of this analogy where, okay, if we're all sitting around a campfire, and that campfire is that energy, and I can choose any seat around the fire. Like, I'm going to pick the closest seat if I'm cold. Or if I'm hot, I'm going to sit further away, but I'm going to choose that seat. And I think it's realizing that I've had a choice this whole time. And that is what I want my kids to understand is you are in control, and listen to what, your soul is saying that you want for this life, because it doesn't have to be just dictated by, what I want for you or what someone else thinks you should do. It's always just got to be that inner knowing.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
And it probably feels good to know that, yes, your parents may have experienced something from their parents and just it's been a trend, but being that person that can translate the information in a different way towards your own kids, and then hopefully they'll be able to do the same in the future. And I think, Krista, you're probably the same way, with your kids, and knowing that, the awareness, that work that we've all done has propelled something beautiful for our future kids and their generations and things like that to come. So, yeah.
I call it my gift to my kids. I think
Love
it is
that.
so... I'm getting emotional. It is so powerful that I have the awareness to impart that on them. And I'm not perfect by any means. I still have generational things that I unconsciously pass down or I unconsciously do. I get that. But I think in general, in the grand scheme of things, I have been able to recognize in myself and in patterns that have been passed down, things that I definitely don't want to pass down to them, but also, how do I want to say this? I haven't had enough coffee.
They maybe need to know it exists, but they don't. They have the choice to act on it or not.
Yes. So I'll give you a great example. I had a rough night with my daughter a couple days ago, and in the morning I woke up, worked on the repair, right? And so I looked at her and I said, Raina, Mommy did not have a good night last night, and I want to apologize for, how I acted. And she looked at me and she goes, it's okay. We all have our moments.
Aww.
And there was such beauty in that, because while I repaired, she was also understanding, and we could have that communication, have that connection. And it was beautiful and funny all at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. And she's how old?
6. Yeah. That's
incredible.
Yeah. She's awesome. Have you had experiences like that with your kids where you've kind of seen how your evolution has helped them?
Yeah. Yes. So in particular, just with pressure. And I think, with my daughter, she was born early and, all these things. And I didn't want to make that her story. There wasn't any, that happened. But even with her, feeding journey and learning to eat, all of those type of things, her being born early, she was small, right? So I already had that doubt, okay, I want to make sure she eats enough, and I want to make sure she eats this enough and that enough. And I remember when she was little, I was force feeding that girl as much food as I could get down there, right? And yeah, that's great. She grew, she's fine, she's great today. Yes. But even as she was starting to eat solid foods, I would watch her be kind of hesitant and, gag a little or this. And I realized is this my energy that she's picking up on? Is she nervous because I was putting pressure okay, make sure you eat enough, right? Or make sure you do this. And so little things like that. And I've just found you know what? She's going to figure it out. She's going to figure it out. Medically, there's nothing wrong. So everyone figures out how to eat, right? And now we're into potty training, right? So it's I know she's going to figure it out. And just trusting that. And same with my son too. I think that has been really the foundation is, having self-trust in myself to know that everything's going to work out for me and for the people that I love. And just rooting it in love. I grew up with a ton of love in my household, which I'm so blessed and proud to say and grateful. And I think as long as they feel loved unconditionally, that's, then I've won.
Yeah. You've done your job.
Yeah.
So last question is, if you were to give advice to someone who is stuck in the between of who they once were and who they're becoming, what would that piece of advice be, other than obviously downloading KINZ?
Yes. First, download KINZ.
Good point.
Thank you for that. Well, first, I would say you are not alone. I know it can feel that way, but you are not alone. And the fact that you are in this in-between means you're growing. Mm-hmm. Before I had awareness, I didn't know there were patterns. Like now I can't stop seeing them, right? Mm-hmm. So the fact that you are aware that you're in the in-between is amazing because you are on your way to becoming. I would say, growth is not linear. Give yourself grace. I would say that, the becoming is ongoing. So there's no need to rush the process. Let it unfold organically. And I would also say that the in-between isn't a problem to solve. It's a season to experience.
Love it. Words of wisdom.
Does KINZ stand for anything like in particular, or is it just a abbreviation?
I love that question. So actually, KINZ stems from a childhood nickname of mine.
Okay.
So my brother, gave me the nickname of Amy KINZ. I was born Easter Sunday, so I don't know if it has something to do with that. But because KINZ, he always said like with the bunny. But upon, further kind of like identifying with it, when you think of kin, that's your people, that's your community, that's your connection. So for me, having it be the name of the platform was so fitting because this platform was, evolved from me and a need for it. Yeah. But it also is to create a community where everyone else feels supported in their becoming. So, that was where it came from. So no acronym or anything. It's just standing for, the future community of all of us, hopefully.
Beautiful.
I love that. That's amazing.
So, Aim, if people would like to follow you, get connected with you, how would they do that?
Well, there's a couple ways. So if you want to follow my founder journey and my own personal documenting of my own becoming a founder, you can do that on my TikTok and Instagram. So it's Amy Hawley, so Hawley. And if you want to follow our KINZ brand page on both social, Instagram and TikTok, it's at Join KINZ, KINZ. And then, of course, if you're curious or want to learn a little bit more about KINZ and, have access to the platform, it's bekins.com. It's, as Krista mentioned, we're in early access now, but you are, able to download the app, save it to your home screen, and it's good to use now. So more to come as it evolves, but I'm excited to have it out there, public, and ready to hopefully help people in their own journeys.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited. We're here for it.
Yes. Anything else before our closing thoughts?
No, I think that sums up everything. I'm super excited to just follow your journey even more and see if I can implement KINZ myself, but also with other people.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. So if you enjoyed this episode with Amy Hawley, like and subscribe to our channel for more content to help you level up. And remember, your journey to empowered abundance continues on the next episode. Thanks for listening to the Vibe and Shine podcast. Keep shining bright.